nerds, what's up? Today's video is going to be the mid-year book freakout tag, which I've been seeing everywhere on BookTube, so I'm excited to be joining in. I wasn't tagged by anyone, but the creator was champion. Let's get right on into the question. Best book I've read so far in 2018, and it was really early in the year, nothing has surpassed it yet, and it was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This was actually my very first Sassy Book Club book of the month for January of 2018, and we did a live show about it, which will be linked up in the cards if you want to check it out. But we read this book, and it's whimsical and magical and fantastical, and it's about a boy named Laszlo Strange who used to be obsessed with this city, and then one day the city's name was taken from his memories, and now the word weep was replaced for the city's name, and so he has become obsessed with trying to find out what this city was, where it is, and all that stuff, but no one else really knows about it, and so people kind of call him Strange, but also his last name is Strange, which I just love. And then there's a second point of view in this book that I don't want to give anything away in case you haven't read it, but everything about this book was just, it was really good. Best sequel you've read in 2018, and it's actually a third book in a series for me, and it was Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is the third and final book in the Illuminae Files trilogy. It's so good. The entire series is amazing. I'm sure that you've probably heard about this, but just in case you haven't, it's a series that is read in different types of files. So some of them are like audio transcripts, which reads more like a novel. Some of them are scripty. Some of them are like emails. It's all so fun. Sometimes they look like this, where the words are going around, and it gives you a really like insight into some of the like fighting and war that's going on in all three of these books. Best ending to a series I've read thus far. I finished this book and just wanted to immediately reread the entire series, which doesn't happen to me very often. It's really good. New releases that you want to get to but you haven't read yet, and I have 3 for you, and it is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which came out at the very beginning of January. Still haven't read it. It's gorgeous. I want it. I don't own it. I need it. I want to read it. I love stories about fae. Holly Black was one of my favorite authors in middle and high school. Shout out to the Tithe series. One of my favorite things from when I was younger. The other 2 that I have here is, one is Dear Martin by Nick Stone. A lot of books coming out about Black Lives Matter movements, about gun violence towards black humans and all of that stuff, and Dear Martin is one of those books, and it's told in verse from what I understand. I originally wasn't actually all that interested in reading Dear Martin because I read The Hate U Give and I read Tyler Johnson Was Here, and I really want to read Anger Is a Gift, and all of these books are coming out, and this one is told in verse, which is not my favorite style of writing. But then I met Nick Stone at Y'all West, or I didn't meet Nick Stone at Y'all West. I watched her on a panel is what happened, and I decided that I need all of Nick Stone's everything in my life because she is perfect and just a wonderful human in all of life. So now I really need to read this one. The last new release that I haven't gotten to yet but I really want to read is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. This is a sequel to the Simon versus Homo sapiens agenda, which was one of the books that I didn't think I would like in 2017, and then I read and then I loved, and I just recently, when the movie came out, I went and saw it and cried the entire time because it's just so beautiful, and so now I need to read this one. I've been hearing kind of mixed things about Leah on the Offbeat. People either really love it or really hate it, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but I want to read it myself, and I just haven't quite gotten to it. The most anticipated releases of the year, so I am not going to go into synopses of these because I have so many, but are you ready for my list? Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl, On the Come Up by Angie Thomas, Catwoman by Sarah J. Maas, The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken, Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, Imposters by Scott Westerfeld, Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor, I need it right now, What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera, The Ladies' Guides to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee, and Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. Most of those are all sequels with the exception of Neverworld Wake. On the Come Up is technically its own story, but it takes place in the Hate You Give universe with the like family members of the main character. Catwoman is kind of its own book, but it takes place in the same like set that is the Wonder Woman and the Batman and then Catwoman. My biggest disappointment of the year, and I actually have two, and I can't decide between the two which one is a bigger disappointment. Otherworld by Jason Segel is a little bit less of a disappointment than the next one that I'll talk about. This was the Bibliothon group book for the winter last year, so we read it right at the beginning of the year. It was just okay. Online universe where you go in kind of like Ready Player One, and I think I was expecting it to be as good as Ready Player One, and it just wasn't as good as Ready Player One. Most of the twists and turns that I saw coming. Characters were just not that entertaining. The place that they were in, like the online verse that they were in, was really cool, but just most generally it was okay. My other most disappointing book of this year so far has been Bone Gap. This book I have had on my TBR for a long time. If I remember correctly, Reagan from Peru's Project really likes this book, and she is the reason that I put it on my TBR. Finally picked it up from the library and was like, ooh, I know that I'm gonna like this. And it just was weird. This book follows two brothers, and the older brother's like girlfriend or fiance went missing, and the little brother was there when she went missing. And so there's like a dichotomy between the brothers because the older brother thinks that the little brother is lying about what he saw because he says that she got taken by some dude, but no one has any evidence of that. And so the older brother has decided that maybe she just left him, and so he's mad at the little brother for keeping his hopes up or something. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, like the family dichotomy and everything was really good, but just the actual plot of the story was really weird, so it was really disappointing. The biggest surprise of the year, and I again have two of them. One was Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I've attempted to read Cinder once, and I didn't read more than like 50 pages of it because I just didn't find it that entertaining in that moment. I read Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which was also like very whimsical and fun to read, but also wasn't that good. Like, I didn't like some of the stuff in that book. So I didn't have a lot of high hopes going into Renegades. It was our Bibliobook Club earlier this year for our club that we read one book every 3 months for, so it wasn't my choice to read it. I just decided to participate in the book club, and I ended up freaking loving it. So good, and now I can't wait for the sequel. And they just released that it's not going to be a duology, it's going to be a trilogy, and I'm excited for it. Other biggest surprise of the year was Scythe by Neal Shusterman. Neal Shusterman is an author who I haven't read a lot of, but every time I've read from him, he is a good author. That was not a question. So anyway, I was at the library and on a whim decided to pick up Scythe because of all of the promotion it was getting on YouTube at the time, and I freaking loved it. I did not think that it was going to be as amazing as it was. My favorite new author. This is not her debut novel, it's actually her second, but because of Girl Made of Stars, I have become obsessed with Ashley Herring Blake. I loved this book so much. I saw it before it had come out. I was ready. I wanted it so bad. The cover is beautiful. I had heard Ashley Herring Blake's name before. I knew that we had a bisexual character and a gender fluid character. I also knew that this book was about a girl whose twin brother rapes her friend, and she has to decide if she believes her brother, or as a feminist, does she believe her friend. I feel like Ashley Herring Blake did such an amazing job swirling through that uncomfortable conversation, and it was emotional and it was amazing, and so now I need to read her other book, and just, she's gonna become an author for me, I think. It was amazing. A book that made you cry. Well, see, I cry at everything. Girl Made of Stars was as well, but also I Stopped Somewhere by T.E. Carter, which is also a sexual assault story, but it also has an interesting thing about the main character that I don't want to give away because I don't think that the synopsis gives it away, and so I want you to be able to go in how I went in, but this book was rough. on the emotions, and that's all I'm gonna say. Newest fictional crush from the Children of Blood and Bone series, and it is Amari, because Amari is the best. Amari should be the ship with Zelly, is all I'm saying. Zaylee, sorry. That's the ship I believe in. Also, she can be with me if she doesn't get Zaylee. A book that made you happy, and I have two for this. One is just recently I read Geekarella by Ashley Poston. I listened to this on audiobook, and thank you very much, Quirk Books, for sending me this novel. Oh my god. This could be a surprise for me too, because I did not think I was going to like this book as much as I did, but this book was amazing. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was adorable. It also had some heart-wrenching feelings in it every once in a while because our main character's father is dead. It's a Cinderella retelling. That's not a surprise. It was good, and it was cute and adorable, and just The other book that made me happy was Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, and having the words Rainbow Rowell and the word happy is just, obviously, this is the feeling. My favorite book to film adaptation this year was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I was nervous for this adaptation. This was one of my favorite books of, I believe it was 2015 when I read it. One of my favorite books of that year. It's a sci-fi, also takes place in online alternate universe. It follows a lot of 80s references because the guy who made this online universe put a bunch of Easter eggs in it to give away his inheritance when he died because he didn't have a wife or kids or anything. They're playing to win this inheritance of this big, like, Bill Gates style man. It's all 80s references, even though the book takes place in like 2045 or something like that. And I just thought it was so well done. Like, I'm not an 80s kid, but I do know quite a bit of the 80s references. I was nervous going into this book going, oh, I'm not into gaming and it's definitely video game inspired. After reading the book, finding out that they're making a movie, I was super nervous. It felt like it was going to be really difficult to make an entertaining story to watch. It was the epitome of what an adaptation looks like when it's well done, because they did not take everything that was in this book and put it into film. They took the essence of this book and made it into a film, and it was glorious. Either the favorite review you've done this year, or for booktube version, it's the favorite video that you've made this year. And I don't have a specific video this year that I'm like really proud of or anything, but I do have some things that I've done with my booktube channel that I'm really proud of. One is that I essentially rebranded, and all of my thumbnails are different now, and the way that I kind of like edit my videos is a little bit different now, and I just am really proud of the aesthetic of what my channel looks like at this moment, so I'm really loving that. I also am really proud of the fact that I started doing my own book club, and we do a live show every month for a book that you guys help pick via my Twitter for Sassy Book Club, which is all in the description down below if you're interested in joining the Twitter or the Goodreads page or anything like that. And it also has like the live show information for our next live show and everything. And yeah, I'm really proud of that work that I've done for that. Number 14 is the most beautiful book that you've either bought or received this year. So I picked one that I bought, and I picked one that I received because I can't choose. The first one is the one that I bought myself, and it is Brazen Rebel Ladies Who Rocked the World by Penelope Bajou, I think is how you say it. And this is a series of short stories told in graphic novel form of a bunch of badass ladies throughout history. And so, oh my god. The inside is gorgeous, the outside is gorgeous, the spine is gorgeous. It's so pretty. The book that I received that I think is the most beautiful is the most recent Harry Potter edition. My friend Kathleen bought this for me, and thank you so much, Kathleen. It's still my favorite birthday present I received this year, and it's so pretty, and it's also pretty inside. How can you... Ah! Amazing! Amazing. So yes, those are two books that are very pretty that I've gotten in the last year. Lastly, books that you need to read by the end of the year. Remember that list of all of those releases that are coming out? all of those. I do want to reread Vicious by V.E. Schwab this year before Vengeful comes out, and Vengeful comes out really soon, so like, I also really want to read Cruel Prince by the end of the year. That's one of them that just needs to happen before the end of the year. It came out in January. It needs to happen. It's been a year. Well, right now it's been 6 months, but I need to do it. Yell at me for it. And the last book that's not on that release books that I listed previously is I really want to read A Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin before the end of the year. I've read all of the other ones so far, and I want to read and be caught up with the Game of Thrones series, okay? Okay, it's so big. Let's see, how many pages is that? God. 1,123 pages. That is my mid-year book freakout tag. I talked for a long time in this video, so I apologize if this video is really long, but give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you can always hit that notification bell right by the subscribe button if you want to be notified every time I post a video. I have an upload schedule. Wednesdays and Saturdays are going to be my guaranteed upload schedule, and if I find the time to post a third video, then I will post it on Sundays. I have another question for you, and I'll have a poll right here for you. The question of this video is, would you be interested in weekly reading vlogs from me? Let me know in the poll right there if you want those, because that might be the third video that I post on Sundays if you're interested. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys very soon with a new one. Bye! I wish I could take all the things